Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Leverett Ball Show. And on this episode, I am joined by Noah Katz. And anyone who's ever been on TikTok ever, you've probably seen this guy. He is the face of the Umpire channel, arguably the most popular baseball umpiring channel on all of TikTok. And he also umpires for the very famous Savannah Bananas. And it's funny, Noah, before we started recording, I was asking you, if you ever keep your name a little bit confidential. I mean, on the channel, the name is the umpiring channel. It doesn't include your name. Were you ever tempted to kind of keep your identity a mystery, or do you want to just share Noah Katz with the world?
Yeah, I think, it was more, for the idea of the channel, to be bigger than just myself, to be able to, feature other officials and other stories while also, showing my personality and my journey as well.
Obviously, you've grown a huge following on social media. You've umpired for the Bananas, but obviously you had an umpiring background before all of this stuff came about. But when did you first get the idea to start putting everything online? And also, how long did it take you to grow a legitimate following?
Yeah, so, I grew up, playing baseball and umpiring, and I loved umpiring. It was an amazing part-time job, and, as I was umpiring, I saw my little league had real umpire shortages, and people just didn't realize that they could become umpires. So, about 4 years ago, I went out and I made a video about why being an umpire is a great part-time job, called it the Umpire Channel, and, posted it, and the first video got 300, 1,000 views, and all because, it was unique. It was about something where there, isn't content, wasn't content created about it before. I was positive. So yeah, that was kind of the idea for the channel of, showing sports from a different perspective and humanizing sports officials. And, yeah, the first video got 300,000 views, grew to 20,000 followers in about 2 weeks, and has, kept growing ever since.
What? So is that so? Basically, you're kind of an overnight sensation.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, it was, definitely great to see some growth at the start. And I think, at the core of what we were doing was the idea behind, showing something that really hasn't been shown before.
Well, and I was gonna say, I mean, as far as competitors, I mean, what other really popular umpiring channels are there? Were you one of the first creators that specifically did umpiring?
Yeah, so there really aren't that many people, doing what we're doing and, showing, sports from the officials' perspectives. There are some people who kinda showed, their own umpiring journey a little bit, a few people who do some different things, but yeah, we're definitely kinda on our own in what we do.
Okay, and the thing is also, I mean, umpires kind of, sometimes they get a lot of hate, and referees in sports in general, because if you make a correct call, no one notices. People only notice the mistakes, and people scream at officials and berate officials. And do you think maybe your channel gives people more of a perspective on what it's like to be an official, and maybe because that people might ease up on sports officials a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. At the core of what we're doing, we want to humanize officials, and we've received so many messages from parents, from coaches, from players, who, from seeing their content, seeing our content, seeing the human side, have started to treat officials with more respect. So yeah, we definitely do, definitely get those messages, and that's really at what we're trying to do.
No doubt about it. And so, you mentioned you grew up playing baseball. At what age did you start transitioning into umpiring?
Yeah, so I started umpiring when I was 16. I played baseball till I was 18, so it was really cool to get to umpire and play at the same time. Sometime in the same leagues. Sometimes I would umpire friends who are on my high school team, and I'd umpire their travel ball games on the weekend. So it was an amazing part-time job, and that's why I really recommend it to so many other people, and really share that on the channel that you out there can get started as an umpire and as a referee.
Well, and it's funny because one of your videos on your channel, I saw it was you actually playing baseball. And I was actually pretty impressed. I saw some clips of you taking some ground balls and playing in the infield. You looked like you were pretty good. Now I know you've been going to school at Clark University. I mean, it's a Division III college. I mean, did you have interest in trying to play at Clark, or were you more focused on umpiring at that point and you had no interest in trying out?
Yeah, I think I was traveling too much for the channel to really consistently do it. I did end up running D3 cross country here at Clark, you know,
Okay.
throughout. But yeah, no, it's been really cool to be able to collaborate with the Clark team and to be able to play and kind of grow the kind of content that we put out.
Okay, so you are actually a student athlete at Clark in a different sport, while also doing the umpiring channel. I mean, if let's say you had never become an umpire, do you think you would have played college baseball, or were you more interested in cross country?
Maybe, yeah. I was interested in both. It ended up I was looking at some schools for baseball, some for cross country, and Clark just ended up working really well out academically, and then cross country ended up working out as well.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I told you this when I first met you, but I used to live in Worcester on Birch Street, right across the street from Clark University. And yeah, we were next door. Well, actually, this would have been probably before you started school, but I was next door neighbors with the Clark campus. I feel like they should have given me like an honorary Clark degree or something. But but uh, but obviously, you've been doing the channel, having success, and then how did you first get involved with the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, so I'd seen their content and I loved it, and I'd gotten to know their umpire, Vincent Chapman, the dancing umpire, well. I'm live on TikTok a few times. We've been talking about content, and he invited me out to a game. I went out there. I also reached out about media credentials, so got them. Went out and filmed with him and with the team, and it was a really good fit. We're all putting out kind of family friendly, positive content. And yeah, they liked what I was doing, and they invited me out to their spring training the following spring. So kind of as a tryout for the Bananas. Did that, and went well, and then, pretty soon I was umpiring for the Bananas, started with a regular season series in Savannah, and then, right after that, umpired at Fenway for the Bananas, and been doing that ever since at, MLB, NFL stadiums with them, and it's been an incredible journey.
I mean, it certainly sounds like it, and they've gotten so popular. I'll never forget the first Bananas video I ever saw on social media. You've probably seen this, the one of that guy, Bill Leroy, announcing his own at bat and taking a mic up to the plate. I remember seeing that video, and that was when they were still a college summer ball team before they were like a full-time professional operation. But that was around roughly COVID when they started going viral on social media, I think. It's amazing that how far that organization has come, and I mean they're so popular now. And they sell out lots of big league stadiums. But how do you have any time left at Clark, or are you currently graduated? And also, what are your future plans?
Yeah, so I'll be graduating in a few weeks from Clark, and
Uh-huh.
then I'll be going straight in to going full time on the channel. I have a full calendar of events scheduled out, and really excited to hit the ground running.
Wow, it sounds like you're going to be a busy guy. And I mean, was there ever a point in time when the channel started having major success? I mean, I know of like, I don't know, like musicians whose music started taking off when they were in college and they dropped out of college. Did you ever think about leaving college to do it full time, or was the goal always to finish college before doing it full time?
Yeah, there were, definitely times where, it was a lot to juggle from, one day I'm in class, the next day I'm umpiring at a MLB stadium, with the Bananas, and I'm doing homework on the plane. But I think I was able to make it work, by kind of approaching things strategically, setting up my classes so I would, be able to work on different things, on the channel, from a finance class where I worked on the channel's finances to, participating in business pitch competitions where I won funding for the channel. So I was able to fuse the 2 together for, overall, really positive experience.
Gotcha, gotcha. And what major were you? Because I'm assuming Clark doesn't have an umpiring major or a TikTok major. So what was your actual academic major while you were at Clark?
Yeah, majored in marketing.
And that actually, I mean, I would think that translates to what you're doing, promoting your channel. It sounds like that's kind of a natural fit for you. And I mean, when you were in class at Clark, like were professors giving you tips on how to market your channel, or was it just kind of they were separate from each other?
Yeah, I definitely tried to, fuse the 2 together whenever I could. So I would always go up to my professors and talk about different aspects, of the channel. Some of the people who work on the channel, my, videographer went to Clark with me. Um, so yeah, I was able to put the 2 together very well.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so, obviously you mentioned you're about to graduate from Clark and you're going to start doing the channel full time. So, where do you see things going in the future? Do you think you'll stay kind of on the social media route, or would you ever have interest in having like a umpiring reality show or Netflix show? Or, I mean, where do you see things going? How do you see things going further down the road? Do you want to continue the social media journey or kind of branch out into other things?
Yeah, I think the goal is definitely, social media, the content, and the business. Umpiring, is amazing, but yeah, I think the passions more aligned, with, growing the business, growing the community, and growing the impact of the channel. So, for now, it's, going full time into the channel and seeing how far we can grow it, and, we'll see from there.
Okay, so there you never have interest. It's funny on this podcast I've had a lot of guests from Love is Blind, the reality show. You'd never have a interest in doing like an umpiring is blind show or Netflix hit reality show or anything like that.
No, yeah, possibly. I'll see kind of what opportunities come up. Think maybe a docu-series one day showing an MLB umpire season could be pretty cool. So we'll see as it grows.
And are you also planning on continuing with the bananas?
Yes, definitely. I have a full schedule of banana games starting right after I graduate, and yeah, we'll hope to be with them for years to come.
I mean, that sounds awesome. Like I said, they have such a cool operation. A kid from my college, I went to Curry College. He actually plays with the Bananas, but he's on one of their teams that they play against, the Indianapolis Clowns. A pitcher named
Nice.
David Griffin. He's
Okay.
also been a guest on this podcast. I think he has a great time with it. Also, I mean, do you see yourself at some point umpiring in the MLB, or would that get in the way of the channel too much?
Yeah, I think, probably not more, the channel and growing the content. With MLB, you gotta, work every day, for years, on that. So, yeah, I think, the goals are more with the channel and the business, but definitely excited to, showcase official stories, from the MLB to the NBA, to the NHL and many more.
Gotcha. Because I've seen on your channel, you have some officials from other sports that you cover. When did it shift from baseball to a mixture of different sports?
Yeah, I think pretty early on, we wanna be kind of a central hub for, all officiating, so we started to delve, whether that's filming, day in life of an NBA referee, interviews with college football referees, so, yeah, we're very, interested in continuing to expand, into other sports while also always showing, the umpiring side.
100%, 100%. It's funny because I first met you at a college softball game. You were covering an umpiring crew for a college softball game that I was broadcasting. Obviously, baseball and softball are very similar, but do you have experience officiating other sports, or has your officiating experience yourself specifically been baseball?
Yeah, personally, I've just umpired baseball, but, potentially open, to, doing some other sports as well and, seeing where some interesting content could come.
Yeah, and it's really cool that you film content about officials and other sports outside of baseball. Is there any chance we'd see you making a day in the life video for a obnoxious play-by-play announcer and podcast host? Would that ever happen?
Yeah, maybe. We're also, definitely interested in, showing the other jobs, in sports, so potentially.
Who knows? Who knows? That might be my big break. If I'm on Noah Katz channel someday, who knows? But I mean, it's really cool. Everything that you've done. But for any young people listening who want to do social media or officiate sports, what advice would you have for anyone looking to follow in a similar path to the one that you took?
Yeah, I think it's all about following your passions. Really, really figuring out what you, can kind of uniquely speak to. Because if I, started out and say, I wanted to cover, Major League Baseball, a lot of people are covering Major League Baseball, but I was able to find my lane and, find something where, I was a little league umpire. I wasn't, a complete expert in umpiring when I started, but I had a unique perspective, and, unique things to share. And I think, everyone has unique things, so it's really thinking about that, and, if you're interested in it, there's a good chance that other people are too.
100%. I think that's great advice, and it's cool that you were able to find out what your passion was and stick with it and have the success that you've had. And I just have a couple more questions before we wrap up. But building off of what you said about following your passions and how you got into what you do, was there ever a point in time when maybe you had any doubts that your channel would work out, or maybe you thought that you'd be in a different line of work after college than what you're doing now? I mean, was there ever a point in time when you did not anticipate having the success that you've had?
Yeah, no, I think, if you look at it, in the long run, it's been up, but they're definitely, it's up and down, up and down. Some months you're hot, sometimes you're not. Sometimes the baseball off season can be pretty tough. So yeah, it's definitely tough at times, but you can really zoom out and see that you're going up in the long run. Then you can kind of disconnect yourself from day by day and really look at the big picture.
I mean, that's I think that's a great point you make. It's similar for me because, like, with my sports broadcasting work, I've done broadcasts on ESPN and NESN and SNY, but it's not a linear path. And the volume of broadcasts I do goes up and down throughout different stages of the year. And you have to keep that even keel, kind of like you said. But, for anyone who wants to keep up with everything you're doing, what are the exact handles um, for your umpiring channels? And also, what types of games and events can people see you at in the future?
Definitely. Yeah. So you can follow the Umpire channel at the Umpire channel on all platforms on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. And we have some really exciting events coming up from umpiring at Neyland Stadium, University of Tennessee's football stadium in front of 100,000 fans, to creating content at the Field of Dreams and it'll be All Star Week to doing more stuff with NFL, NHL, NBA referees. So, yeah, we have some really excited content coming up.
I mean, that sounds awesome. And if anyone's looking to unfollow me on social media and follow a new account, definitely the Umpire channel is the one for you. But Noah, obviously I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's really cool. Everything you're doing with your career, and best of luck with everything you have coming up in your busy schedule in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, and, best luck to you as well.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But once again, everyone, that was our guest, Noah Katz. You've been listening to The Leverett Ball Show.